Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Andrew and this is the Extra Ammo channel. Now I know what you've come to expect here, some tactical, high-speed, very cool guns, but I have a treat for you today. The coolest of the cool, the rarest of the rare, the Daisy VL caseless rifle. Let's get into it. So, what I've got here today is the Daisy VL rifle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Daisy, right? The Red Ryder BB gun company? Yeah, that Daisy. So, in the 1960s, in fact, 1968 and 1969, they made this, which is a pellet gun. But it also fires these super cool and incredibly hard to find, by the way, caseless rounds. They come in a box and in these little tubes, and they're really kind of cool. Now, you might be wondering, well, why? Why don't they make it anymore? And that's because the ATF said if it fires bullets, it's a gun. And Daisy is not a firearms manufacturer. They're not licensed to make firearms, so they had to stop making it. But what is so neat about this is it actually works pretty well. And it's the first caseless ammunition rifle ever produced. So when you talk about the cool sci-fi caseless guns, right? The idea of an ammo that you can just have only fuel and projectile in, well, the BB gun company did it first. Let's shoot it. Now this thing is cool. So editing guy, cue the slow-mo. Nice. Okay, so this is a little bit weird here, guys, right? We've got the ammunition here, which is basically just a projectile and a little bit of propellant, I guess you'd say, on the back. And I've got a mixed interest in historic firearms, right? I don't get really excited about milsurp stuff for the most part, in generality. But I love lawsuit guns. I love guns that somebody made and then somebody else was like, oh, you can't have that. Like the Smith & Wesson Sigma, right? Glock was like, nah, too close, right? I have one of those. So I like unique pieces of history that are just kind of oddities and weird. This guy, you cock it back, you put the projectile in. In fact, this will actually still shoot 22 caliber pellets. So whether you're loading one of these guys or loading an actual pellet, same process. Load it back up, press this guy, aim it, and it's pretty damn accurate. And I don't know why, but this just makes me happy. You know, it gives me the fizz, guys. I think this is cool. It's cool because it's a pellet gun to the people who made it that might be able to fire the special caseless ammunition, but to the ATF, it's a firearm. And oh, that BB gun company was making firearms and selling them. But to me, it's just something that is fun to shoot and not a lot of people have. So when it came into my awareness, however that happened, I just had to add it to the collection. And now I've got it, and I'm going to shoot it at 50 yards, see how it groups, and get you a velocity on it as well. So if any of you guys are looking for some, historic data or anything of that nature, you can get that too. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so we are down here at 50 yards. I've got my handy-dandy Garmin Chrono set up so we can get some data on these rounds. Now, I am shooting the Daisy Hedon ammunition, and that is actually the manufacturer listed on this as well. And they claim a velocity of 1150 FPS with a 29 grain, 22 caliber projectile. So let's see at the 5-shot group what I can get here. Put that in there, a little awkward. Sup? Cool. Nothing is ejecting here, guys. There's no case. No case. This thing needs a speed loader. No brass to pick up at the range. I mean, why didn't this catch on? Because it was illegal. It was made illegally. That's why. That's why it never picked up. Okay, let's go on down and see how I did. See how it's grouping. We're good? All right. So, I don't know what it is about this thing. I just really like it. and I think it's cool. I mean, it's a 22. Obviously not super powerful. But there's something to be said about just sort of enjoying shooting stuff that's kind of neat, right? It's all well and good to have ARs and semi-automatic shotguns and, pistols galore. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's something special about, going out and shooting a 22 that may or may not be a firearm, depending upon who you ask. But it looks like at 50 yards, the grouping is maybe not where you need it to be for hunting or for a target practice application. But I think the use case of something like this is really in the 15 yards, teaching a kid to shoot, that kind of stuff. Assuming that maybe this is just a flyer because Andrew's nervous and on the internet, this is not awesome. Not awesome. But I will tell you, it's just fun, right? And this is definitely a group that's small enough to hit gongs at 50 yards or 25 yards or 10 yards. So if you can find the ammo and you want to buy one of these and you can find it, highly recommend. Okay, so I know I've said this before, guys, but this thing is just so neat. Just love shooting it. Now, it works, like I mentioned before, as both a pellet gun and a rifle for this caseless ammunition. Now, let's see here. I love it. Now, when you pump this, you compress a piston in much the same way as you would for another air rifle. And that compressed air, when directed at this specialized fuel here, gives it just enough, I guess, to ignite this fuel, send the bullet downrange, and that's how it works. But it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if maybe I shouldn't be storing this in my garage, right? Because it's gotta be a fairly volatile fuel, right? Now, back in the day, we had black powder, right? That was super volatile, explosive, that's how it worked. Then we sort of transitioned to smokeless powder, less volatile, but we needed primers or priming compounds or primer that hits it somehow, shoots some sparks into it that were hot enough to ignite it as fuel. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's part primer, part fuel. I don't know if it's just enough something to send this tiny little projectile downrange. But I wouldn't want to put this anywhere near anything that might get hot or anything that might ever lead to it going off. Because I kind of wonder, I mean, would this burn the same way that black powder would burn? Would it burn like gunpowder? Would it be way worse? And to be honest with you, it's way, way, way too expensive for me to test it. So, perhaps if you know more about this ammo, or if you've ever tested, I don't know, or seen it in a fire, you can comment down below and like and subscribe, please. All right. Okay, So, according to my chrono here, we've got an average velocity of 1,113.4 feet per second, which is very, very close to the 1150 advertised on the carton here. Standard deviation, 20.1 FPS, which is actually way lower than I thought it would be, considering, say, the inherent problems with having just a little bit of primary stuff hanging off the back of the projectile. And I plugged in the weight of the projectile, so I am delivering a whopping 80.3 foot-pounds of energy with this, which is certainly enough to annoy or maybe even kill a squirrel or like a chipmunk or what have you. But I don't think anybody's really hunting with this. I think actually, depending upon the game warden you run into, you might have a problem, because is it an air rifle? Is it a firearm? I mean, even the ATF's kind of up in the air on it. So I don't think the usable application for something like this, which is at this point, there weren't a lot of them made. I think it was like less than 25,000 of them. So this is just a cool piece of history. But when I see something like this, I think about innovation in this space, right? Why haven't we come back to this? Yeah, Daisy wasn't a firearms company, so they couldn't make it. But I'm assuming there was at least a firearms company around at the time that could have picked it up. Now, it is, at least my understanding was that this was, even at the time, fairly expensive, like way more than 22 long rifle or what have you. And even now, it's super expensive, but that's more so because of the scarcity. So maybe it was a cost issue. But not having brass to pick up at the range, being able to switch back and shoot pellets, it kind of seems like the perfect gun to like teach a kid how to shoot. And so I guess I'm bummed that this went the way of history, and I'm glad I got to share it with you today. So, I've been Andrew, this has been the ExtraAmo channel, and thank you for coming to my historic, weird, and a little bit esoteric lead talk.